This is a Stock Trade and Reality Podcast, episode 175.
Yeah, but I would try to look for potential swing trade setups just off of the knowledge I knew. Formulate some plans within the 30 minutes I had while eating lunch, and it was a mess for sure.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. He's currently being reminded of how difficult it is to build a YouTube channel. Clay Trader.
I genuinely promise none of this was planned. It's going to really sound like this is all staged, but it's not. And if you don't believe me, I'm actually not offended. I do get it because this is going to sound really, really bad. But yeah, the fun fact has to do with my Money with Clay YouTube channel that I've started. And it is difficult to build a channel. The Clay Trader channel, we now have over 120,000 subscribers. But that's been years in the making. So I'm kind of using that as my reminding inspiration that it is possible. Because, yeah, when you're first starting off, like I am with the Money with Clay YouTube channel, it is hard. So that's just kind of, I guess, a subtle plug for it. But then Ches did not know about this fun fact. And earlier on in this interview, he made a joke about moneywithclay.com. And but that was just total. That was right, Ches. None of this was scripted, right?
I never know the fun fact going into this. That's the honest truth. And yeah, I did actually plug your website for you in the middle of the podcast.
In joking fashion, here we have the fun fact. So yeah, I'll just finish it the rest of the way. There is another site that has been launched, moneywithclay.com, personal finance. So like a lifestyle, real estate investing, health type site. So if you're curious in that, there you go. There's a final plug, whether or not you believe this was staged or not. But with that being said, I guess it kind of depends on your viewpoint on life, on whether or not you're going to like this guest. But certain viewpoints will be like, let's go. Ches and I, he had us fired up. He's very inspirational. Other viewpoints on life are probably not going to like him, as we allude to in the interview. But the one thing that he didn't bring in that he let us know, and we're like, Ches, like, oh, well, we can bring it up in the interview. But just keep in mind, 1 year of expenses saved up. So there's other stuff that he's talked about, but just keep in mind that, within that, add on top of it that there's also 1 year of living expenses saved up. And I don't think I introduced who this is. I just keep calling him the 23-year-old kid. But we do talk to Ashton today. He goes by bmxashton in the chat room, if I'm remembering that right. But so for those of you that are active in the chat room community, I'm sure you've seen him around. But yeah, he is a younger kid. And I don't want to spoil anything else other than letting you know that depending on your viewpoint on life, you may not find him very, very comforting, but it is what it is. So let's hear from Ashton and his journey. Ashton, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is I'm trying to think. I think it would be a lie if I said that you were the first person we've done a podcast interview with after we've met them. I think in Baltimore we did a couple, but these are always kind of cool ones. Because we have met, we have hung out. Ashton came to our Denver meet and greet, which at the time of this recording was like a month and a half ago or something like that. So I have met. So on Ches and I behalf, full disclosure, this isn't quite as organic, quite as I don't know anything about this person as some other interviews. So yeah, I guess I do know kind of what some things are. I do know what I do like about Ashton, but we will try to keep it as organic, keep it as real as possible. But just for listeners' sake, I mean, this one isn't quite. Ches and I may or may not be playing stupid at a couple parts, but now that we got that out of the way, this is something I don't know about because we didn't talk about this in Denver. At least I hope we did. And if we did, I apologize. I don't remember it. But where did all this get started for you? I mean, where did you hear about the market? And, what sorts of dynamics occurred that kind of led you to the point where you're like, you know what, I think I want to get more hands-on with this thing you call the stock market?
So it all started in high school. I didn't do the stock trading, whatever they do, like, pick a stock and see where it goes, or try to have a little competition with it. I never did that. But we were watching a Dave Ramsey show. So that's kind of what piqued my interest. He was talking about, CDs, personal finance stuff. And if you want to go more risky, you can look into stocks and some other risky stuff like Forex and stuff like that. But so that was my initial introduction to the markets.
Wait,
And
Dave
then,
Ramsey was talking about Forex, or is that just something else where Forex came about?
that was something else. Just
Okay. I was going to say, I was like,
it-
Forex. I didn't know he talked about that. That seems.
Couldn't see him talking about that, but maybe, you never know.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get a little clarification on that. So continue on, sir.
So after that, I never really did anything with it. So I just kind of looked into CDs. I actually got a CD just because of him, and that was just a hold of my money. You know, I couldn't use it or nothing, and had to wait 2 years, and it was just brutal. But I did make a whopping probably 20 cents, I think, of it.
Nice. That's some good returns right there after 2 years. I like it.
Yeah. What year was this?
Yeah, I was just going to say, what year was it?
This was 2014.
Okay. That would make sense. Ches, you want to give a little history lesson on why he made a whole whopping 20 cents with how interest rates work and what was going on?
No, but I think you do, Mr. Personal Finance.
Oh, look, he's helping to plug. Ches is a good...
www.moneywithclay.com. Sponsored message.
Yeah. So real quick, history lesson here. Back in 2014, and actually kind of still now, although interest rates are coming up. But interest rates, in order to stimulate the economy, stimulate borrowing, so people borrowed more money, the Fed kept lowering interest rates. So sure, interest rates come down, which is good if you're looking to go out and borrow money. However, if you're looking to save and make money, that's not good, because that means that bank account saving rates are really bad. So that is how, don't look at Ashton and say, what kind of, he didn't, there were, as far as CDs are concerned, it is what it is. That's just how interest rates work. So just pitiful returns.
That was the landscape at that time. So is it safe to assume, Ashton, that you started to look for something that's going to generate a little bit bigger returns, anything besides CDs?
Yeah, for sure.
So where'd that end up taking you?
So actually, a little later that year, I was talking to my aunt, and she works for Starbucks Corporation. Well, not corporation, but like corporate. She works in the big offices, in the headquarters and whatnot. So she was talking to me about how their employees would receive stock and how they would buy their houses in full because they sold all their Starbucks stock that they had just accumulated over years of working there and just getting it for free, you know. And that really piqued my interest about the markets.
I can see how that would kind of be like, wait, say that again? People are buying their houses because they sold this stuff called stock, which I maybe learned about back in high school. Now, is this like, is she talking about from like the corporate type level, or is she making it sound like the people behind the registers were doing this, or didn't she, or did you just kind of hear about it in general?
So just kind of in general.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they received stock just for working there, so then they would just save it and they wouldn't do anything with it. So I mean, and
I guess, bad question on my part. They as in corporate, or they as in even people behind the register, working part-time, are also receiving stock? What was your impression of who was getting this stock? Just anybody that worked there, or did you have to be at a certain management level?
Well, she kind of explained to me that you can go out and buy it yourself.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But she's accumulated stock, and so have her employees, but this is over like 10, 15 years that they've worked there. And
Starbucks stock has gone up quite handsomely in that time too.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Ashton.
They're all splitting, and they probably split a couple times while they're holding it. So I mean, that helped a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I was just trying to my roundabout way of, to give credit where credit's due, from my understanding, Starbucks offers a pretty nice employee benefit package, even if you work like part-time. So I wasn't sure if she was approaching it in the sense of, hey, yeah, Ashton, so I mean, even if you pick up a part-time job there, you could start to get some of the stock. But now that you've explained more, it sounds like she was just using her situation in Starbucks as kind of just an overall example of how stocks and the stock market work. Is that pretty much what was going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So, but Starbucks to you, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. I think it was we talked to I talked to somebody in Colorado that I think it might have been Charlie's girlfriend that like works there, but she's getting like her school paid because they have some sort of educate. I don't know what it is, but I do know that Starbucks has a pretty solid employee benefits package. Anyways, so you hear all this about Starbucks being used as the example. So did that get you kind of more motivated and make you start to take action, or did you kind of put it back on the back shelf again? Where did things go from that point?
Oh no! Right when she said that, I took action immediately. So I actually went and got a broker called Scott Trade. Good old Scott Trade.
Good old Scott Trade. Good old Scotty.
Yeah. So I did buy some Starbucks at that time. So in 2014,
like a triple latte or some stock?
Oh, some stock.
It's good stuff, Chess. Keep it up, man.
Oh boy.
Yep. So I bought stock. I bought 7 shares. And that's all I could really afford at the time.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Was your plan to just kind of keep accumulating stock as, say, you got paid every month, or what exactly was your game plan going in? Obviously, you're taking action, but I guess I want to know, what did you have an idea at that time of what you'd be doing with it?
So back then, I looked at it more as investing, because she explained to me that they've been holding it for years and years, and it just splits and keeps going up. So at that time, I was looking at investing it.
Gotcha. Okay. So how long did this go on for?
This went on for 2 years. So I had bought Starbucks, and then I bought Apple just because it intrigued me to look at other stuff. So I had some Apple and Starbucks for 2 years.
Gotcha. Okay, so obviously I know a little bit of, spoiler alert here for the listeners. I know that you trade a little bit more actively nowadays. I guess walk me through how that kind of transition happened from, you going from an investing mindset where you're buying, a couple shares every month here and there in companies that you like, to kind of getting a little bit more active with it.
Yeah, so after that, I did some more research and learned about good old penny stocks and the mentors that came with it. I wanted to learn all I could before I kind of just jumped in.
Before you picked out your Lamborghini?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was picking out the colors and...
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, those penny stock mentors out there, yeah, that's learn first, and then you can pick out your Lamborghini. Yep.
Yeah. So... From there, I
totally derailed your thought process there. My bad.
All right.
I couldn't help myself. But now, when you were doing research, is this the typical Google search, or is this YouTube, or is it a combination of Google, YouTube, and library books? What exactly was this research that you started to do?
It was a lot of different things. It was books, YouTube, and Google, all in one. I Googled it first, came across some mentors, watched YouTube videos.
Out of curiosity, what is it? What did you Google, if you remember? I always like to ask people this.
Just basic stock trading at first, and then I narrowed it down because, penny stocks, you can get the crazy gains all day long, so I wanted to get those crazy gains all day long.
So you were just pretty much hot penny stocks, hot stock picks, how to find hot stocks. Was that kind of the general gist of what you were essentially searching for?
Yes.
And just so I can clarify, and there's a learning lesson here for listeners out there that are maybe new. You were searching for those things because of these penny stock mentors out there. They had led you to believe that this is just like how it goes and what's going to happen. Is that what put you in this mindset to start to kind of go down this, dare I say, maybe a little unrealistic, greedy pathway?
Yeah. They would promise, take my course, you can learn and gain the gains I gain every day, and all this stuff.
And I know now, but just as a spoiler alert, and maybe your mindset, maybe to rain on your parade as a listener, that's not how it works. Hopefully you're saying thanks, Captain Obvious, but apparently a lot of people do think it works, because here's Ashton, not to throw you under the bus, because I was the same way. But yeah, marketers are marketers for a reason. They know what buttons to push to get you to believe things that aren't necessarily true. And if you think that penny stocks is the great way to make all the things in those pictures that maybe they're showing you, No, that's not quite how it works out, and I'm assuming that's what Ashton is eventually going to tell us, and how his journey is going to go here. But so you're searching for penny stocks, for all this stuff, because they're supposed to, just be great, make you a lot of money, and where did that continue to take you as you did your Google/library book/YouTube research?
So I actually got pretty far into the penny stock world. I did a lot of research. I looked at all the free education I could find out there on penny stocks. I did stay away from the big board companies just because they were too expensive, and you could pay for 5 cents a share. You can get a lot more shares than you can on an Apple stock. So,
Definitely a little different than the original investment mindset where you're buying a couple shares here and there. But no, I mean, the logic is solely there. I actually used to, when I got into trading as well, I only focused on lower price stocks, between, pennies and a couple bucks, because you could buy, just like you said, a lot more shares than that. So you're doing your due diligence. Did you end up with one of these Lambo driving model girlfriend gurus?
no, I didn't.
Okay. Well, so what was your primary way of kind of finding these? Was it like StockTwits or iHub or kind of one of those type of forum places?
Yeah, it was StockTwits. I never have been to iHub before, and I'm pretty grateful that I haven't.
That's right. I also kind of missed that boat, and I'm glad, because now that I can take a look back, God bless your heart, Clay, for dealing with that. But yes. Anyways, moving on. So you're looking at kind of StockTwits. I'm assuming you're just kind of finding stuff that's moving a couple 1,000% a day. And for listeners out there, that's totally not an uncommon thing. It's sort of uncommon, but it happens more often than you think. Something goes from 000 something up a bunch, and then everybody's somehow talking about it. And did you get hooked in a couple of these and stuck in any, or did you make millions and you're talking to us from a mansion on a beach somewhere?
Oh no, I'm not talking to you from a mansion. No. I didn't get hooked too bad. I did have some losses, but I didn't blow up any accounts or anything like that, like some of the previous guests.
Now, I guess I should have asked this before. I'm taking this, Clay, because this is an important question. Did you have any concept at this time in your trading, and I loosely call it trading, but that's okay, of kind of risk management, stopping out, stop losses, any stuff like that? I know you said you'd done a bunch of research online about trading in general, but I was wondering if you were applying any of that to kind of penny stock trading at that time.
I mean, kind of in a way. I mean, not to the extent I do today, but back then I would kind of look. I mean, I would do my due diligence. I would look for ones that have good volume, just the basic concepts, because you can't trade a stock with no volume. But with the volume, just kind of the basic chart. I was kind of switching over between candlesticks and like line charts, trying to get all the information I could. I would do news research, just kind of pick and choose what the motivation was, or the catalyst that the stock, why it was moving, and price and volume, pretty much.
Now, was part of your research looking at, you said StockTwits, so we'll go with StockTwits, looking at StockTwits and factoring in what other people said was going to be happening? Or were you pretty much forming all opinions on what you thought would happen based on your own research? Because a lot of people, part of their definition of research is, well, yeah, and then some guy on social media, some guy in the message boards said that it was going to go up to, some insane amount. So they had that, thought, that kind of seed planted in their mind, and which kind of throws off all the other research. So was any of your research doing that, listening, and because there's a difference between, reading and listening. I mean, Ches and I reread stuff and we just laugh at it. But I mean, were you listening to any of that, that hype out there, or were you kind of just trying to ignore that and do your own stuff?
At first I was, they would say, oh, this stock's going to the moon, so get in right now. So at first, I mean, the first couple times I did, and then I would get kind of smacked down pretty hard, and then I would cut my losses. Because some of those free videos told me to cut losses quickly. So, I mean, that was kind of ingrained in my trading style at that time, was if it wasn't going my way, like kind of right off the bat, I would kind of try to cut my losses quickly as I could. So, yeah, I did initially kind of listen and
You went into puppet mode.
right. Yep. Exactly.
And to summarize puppet mode, once again, another data point. Did it ever work out for you at all, or did you just continue to hold because people kept telling you, no, don't sell yet, it's going to keep on going?
Sometimes it did work out. Just a couple pennies here and there because I was just trading penny stocks. But I mean, I would take the small gain that it would give me sometimes, but then most of the time they were pretty much just selling right into my buying. That's pretty much what was happening.
There you go. You are well aware of how it all works, which is good. You have come a long way from there. Then, where did it go from that point? You are. It sounds like it was pretty much a chop fest. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't take any like massive losses or anything, but it doesn't look like you were making any massive wins either. So was it kind of just chopping back and forth, break even, green, red? Is that basically what this phase of your journey consisted of?
Yes, exactly.
And I guess how long did this actually go on where it was some wins, some loss, basic randomness? Did that go on for, because this all started in 2014. So where are we at in kind of the timeline here in terms of how long this phase occurred for?
So this was probably around 2015, kind of towards the end of the year, because I went to basic training, and that took basic and job training, it took about 7 months to complete, and I wasn't doing any trading at that time. So all throughout 2014, towards December, I came back in July. So then after I came back, I started getting back into it a little bit. But
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So you getting back into it in the sense of, hey, I need to do things differently because I wasn't making any progress other than up and down last time? Or did you kind of go into it with the same mentality and same strategy that you were using previously?
No, I was constantly trying to research and learn and see what works for other people, and almost try to piggyback off of them and what they were doing. So yeah, I would research multiple sources. I wasn't doing the same strategies as I was previously. Yeah, I don't know.
So was it from looking at other people that you kind of started to hone the more active strategy that you have now? Because obviously, like you said before, you didn't have time when you were going through basic and job training and stuff like that. But obviously, you must have enough flexibility now that you kind of have enough time to be much more active with it. Or was this more on like a longer term time frame? Because I know for a fact that you trade shorter term now, but I wasn't sure about right now and in this point in your story.
So at this point in the story, I was learning about swing trading, and I was getting away from the penny stocks because I know I was starting to learn that it was a sketchy market to be in. So I was looking into not necessarily the big board stocks, but a little bit more of a higher price stock. I was just trying to zone in. I would kind of go in phases. I would zone in on one pattern, one setup, and try to just trade that setup. And if it wasn't working for me, then I would try a different setup. It was just it was choppy all around, I would say.
Yeah, just kind of all over the place, it sounds like. But that's kind of the way it goes, especially in the beginning of the journey. But I had a question for you. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. This is it's a little bit off track of trading, but I think listeners always kind of get value out of this. How exactly were you funding your trading account? Were you setting aside a certain portion of your paychecks every month or something like that? Because we always get a lot of people who, I can only trade, penny stocks because I only have $100 or something like that. So what are you doing to obviously, start building up an account? What did you personally do?
So actually right after high school, if we go back a little bit, I was working all summer, just mowing lawns. So I'd get paid under the table pretty much, just cash. So I would put all of that just in my savings account. I was really frugal about my money, and I guess everything I've been taught and learned is to really save enough money so that you can have a comfortable living. And that means to have like an emergency fund. So I was setting up my emergency funds, my savings accounts, trying to keep my checking accounts like at a minimum. So yeah, I would work. I would try to work as hard as I can before I went to basic, and then once I went to basic.
Well, I need to interrupt you here because I'm kind of confused. I'm very confused actually. So just so I understand, when you said you were in high school, you were mowing lawns, or is this after you graduated high school?
This is after I graduated.
So like your senior year and then that summer?
Yes. Yeah, this is all 2014.
Like somebody was telling you what lawns to go and mow, or were you finding these lawns to mow on your own?
So, well, my neighbor actually, he had a business. He was right across the street, and he wanted some help, so I went and helped him, and we'd mow probably 10 lawns a day.
Okay, so now was it like sunny out and was it hot? Did you have like any wet substance form on your skin, otherwise known as sweat, while you were doing any of this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
wet substance.
Like I said, I'm kind of confused. So just so I understand, you were out there sweating, doing work, making money so that you could pursue smart finances and pursue this thing called the stock market. You weren't sitting at home down in the basement leaving troll comments on YouTube videos or anything like that. That's not what you were spending your time doing. Am I understanding this correctly?
No, that's correct.
Okay, so you weren't like, woe is me, the world is against me, it's rigged, I don't have any money for trading, and you weren't trolling YouTube videos or anything like that, right?
Right.
Okay. So Ches, I was
I'm
just
disappointed
confused
here. I'm disappointed.
I wanted to make sure that we understood that maybe there is potentially a little personal accountability here on Ashton's part to, hey, I want to trade. Hey, you need money to trade. Hey, let me go work hard, maybe break a sweat to fund my trading account. That's refreshing to hear. Yeah, that's quite refreshing. So I just want to clarify that because you are yet another data point in why Ches and I are maybe a little grumpy when we hear, I don't have any money. I don't have enough money to trade, as they sit there watching Game of Thrones and complain in the YouTube comment section. I mean, so good. I'm glad to hear that you know what breaking a sweat is. So to Ches's point, that is where this money is coming from. You're just out there working hard for it. And so fast forwarding to when you were doing more so, you get back from basic and you're doing all that research. What kind of, I mean, you can give a ballpark number, but what sort of funds were you looking at to use at that point in time?
At that point in time, I would say like a ballpark between 7 and 10 grand I would have in my trading account.
And how old were you at that point?
That was when I was 20.
20. Okay. So again, I'm trying to offer context here. So here we have a 20 year. If you're 20, 21, 19, if you're in that ballpark, 7 to 10 grand, I am not in that ballpark anymore. I'm up in the 30s ballpark. Even for me, 7 to 10 grand, that's a solid range. Ches, can you echo that? You're still in your 20s. Even for your age, I mean, 7 to 10 grand, that's a respectable amount to have at your disposal for trading.
I was just about to say, at 20 years old, I can't, I couldn't even fathom holding $7,000 in my hand because I was not a very good saver at that time. So yes, no, that's absolutely an admirable amount of money even at my age now.
Yeah, and Ches, you just nailed it on the head. Yes, Ashton is working hard, but he is also saving at the same point. So and this is not to be condescending to anybody, but to offer some hopefully inspiration from Ashton as a data point that age doesn't matter. What does matter is that you're willing to work hard, maybe break a sweat, and that you can save some money. And at age 20, 7 to 10 grand, that Ches and I will speak in broad terms here, but we see lots of people through the customer service end of the website that are looking to get started much later in life. And some of these numbers that they give us are, I'll just say, not even close to 7 to 10 grand. And then Ches and I kind of have to rain on their parade saying, yeah, I mean, I suppose you could throw it all in on black on some random thing and hope that the stock goes your way. But, that's not trading. That's just flat out gambling. But yeah, so if you are in the younger age range, willing to work hard, willing to break a sweat, willing to save, that's good stuff, Ashton. 7 to 10 grand at age 20. That's awesome, man. So you're working with 7 to 10 grand. You're trying to learn, pick things back up from that point. But yeah, that was a great rabbit hole that we went down. Anyways, so yeah, pick it back up from there.
So yeah, I got into swing trading because I got back and got a job a full-time job actually, and it wasn't landscaping or lawn mowing. So that was a 7 to 4 p.m. job.
Oh, well, that's actually right in market hours. So did you kind of take a
Right.
break at this time since you got that full-time job, or were you doing it on your lunch break or just swing trading at that time?
Yeah, actually, I would try to do some trading on my lunch break. I wouldn't try to do any day trade, like scalping. I wasn't that far into my learning yet, but I would try to look for potential swing trade setups just off of the knowledge I knew at the time. I'd try to formulate some plans within the 30 minutes I had while eating lunch, and it was a mess for sure.
Well, I was going to say, I kind of wanted to hear how it was going because more often than not, um, when I swing trade options, I always tell people, it only takes a little bit of time in your lunch break to do, but it's a little bit more flexible than kind of buying shares outright, and your P&L can fluctuate a lot differently. So you're
I
doing
have to.
this.
Ches, I'm being rude. I'm hopping in because we have a
Okay.
brilliant Ches. The reason you can do what you do in efficient amounts of time over lunch is
because I'm a genius.
Well, that's supposed to remain on the down low. We're not. You're supposed to play like an average normal guy, but because you have learned, from a sequential thing that tells you what you need to do, and you have formed that. Whereas Ashton, I'm assuming you're kind of just drowning in the open sea of the free information from the internet, from just the library. So yeah, when you're getting all that stuff thrown at you, what's good, what's bad, then yeah, 30 minutes is not really. I can understand why, and I quote, it was a mess for your perspective, because you're trying to juggle all this free information and trying to apply it in trade plans in only 30 minutes. Whereas Ches, I will let you pick it up from here because I don't want to speak for you. But someone in your situation that's actually, kind of invested in yourself from the education standpoint, 30 minutes for you, that's kind of like a long time. You don't need 30 minutes, do you?
No, absolutely not. Not anymore. At first, absolutely.
Exactly.
But
not anymore. Yeah. And I mean, what do you attribute that to? Why do you not need 30 minutes?
It definitely is because education first off, but then it's also practice, and then it's familiarity. I've been doing it for years now, so it's very easy for me. And we kind of touched on this on another podcast before, where I can pull up a chart, and within 5 seconds, I know if it's a viable candidate that I would even consider trading. The only reason why I'm able to do that so fast is pretty much a yes or no answer, is because I've done it, I've practiced it, I kind of knew I always know what I'm looking for. So, yeah, it's just pretty much familiarity, and it took time. By no means did that come overnight, the ability to kind of trade the way I do now.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know this part of Ashton's story, but I'm assuming that because this is no different than anybody else, myself included, yeah, you got a bunch of free stuff out there. Yeah, you got a bunch of information. Heck, yeah, maybe you've even paid for stuff. But when there's so much stuff and then you're trying to constrain yourself with, amounts of time, or in this case, 30 minutes, it's apples and oranges. So just because you hear someone say, yeah, 30 minutes is more than I need, well, what's the backdrop on that? Are they drowning in a sea of free information and, they're brand new? Or, you got to always remember that you can't take universal statements and apply it to any situation, because Ches and I, we see that all the time where such and such, what's the backdrop of that, context? And it's probably a lot different than yours. So, I mean, thank you for being candid and just saying it was a mess, because that really summarizes how things can go in that situation. So did any of these trades win, or were you taking big losses? But what exactly were you looking for? I mean, walk us through kind of your ideal setup at that point.
So at that time, I was looking for, I think, bull flags. I think that was the main one. Or in some other mentor's eyes, it's called like the ABCD pattern. It's all
higher lows.
Yeah, just making higher lows. So I was trying to look for those patterns. Some of them I would win, but I wouldn't take my profits. I had no judgment of where I should have a profit taker or a stop loss, in a sense. So I would kind of get in where I think it's kind of bottoming out according to the chart, and see where it goes from there. And it usually just keeps going down, and I would kind of wait, and then I'll be like, oh, should I get out? Or Is it just correcting a little bit still? I had no real structure about what I was doing. I would.
Okay. I guess my question is, so did you pay, because I know who you're talking about. Did you pay for this person's program, or, I mean, did you, let's start there. Did you pay for this person's program?
He won't crucify you if you say yes, Ashton, don't worry.
No, I didn't.
All right, that's fine, because I want to be, so who you were talking about, to be fair to them, because the way you're talking, it sounds like this is like the dumbest, worst pattern ever. But to call you out, Ashton, sounds like you're getting what you paid for. Oh, yeah, you didn't pay. You were freeloading. So as a freeloader, you were getting freeloader results, because I know we were talking about, but I've never been through their stuff, so I can't badmouth them. Maybe what they teach does work, but so good. We have an example of what freeloading gets you. Yeah, you understood the general pattern, but, well, I wasn't quite sure. Do I sell now? What do I do? Well, am I wrong there, or were you kind of freeloading and you were getting freeloader results?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, that's like I said, I'm not talking about my products at all. However, we see it again all the time, Ches and I. Oh, I know how that works. So I know how that works. Why? No, I mean, I'm a good researcher, and I deducted it from all the free stuff out there. And then you can tell by the way they talk. No, you have like a broad sense, but unfortunately, trading it takes a little bit more than broad senses. So you're trading this ABCD pattern. I mean, when did you finally kind of wave the white flag and say, okay, this is not quite working out?
I just felt like I was getting nowhere. I would do all this research on just the free stuff on the internet, and I mean, in my eyes, when I'm making consistent profits is when I know I'm ahead or winning. If I'm making like a big gain here, a big loss there, not being consistent about it, then I know that I'm going to lose in the long run. So if I want to be in this for the long run, I need to really buckle down and know what I'm doing before I actually get in there and do it.
And I think that's super important that Ashton's able to kind of realize that, instead of just pretty much throwing money around and being like, oh, well, it is what it is. And wow, I hit a home run, and then I totally struck out the next time and lost that home run. So absolutely couldn't agree more. So obviously your consistency isn't where you want it. Where are you going from here? Are you going to continue to trade the ABCD pattern, or are you going to look for somebody else to kind of, form a strategy on, or, what consistency is a hard thing to find in almost anything you do. But obviously, you have a little bit more time now than 30 minutes at lunch, it sounds like, from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, I do. So from here, I was doing some more research on YouTube, and I came across Clay's videos. So that's kind of what sparked, actually, the live trade videos is the ones that really intrigued me. Just because they were fast, they were consistent. You're not making huge gains, but you're making consistent gains, and that's what I wanted at the time. So I did watch pretty much all of your live trade videos, just to try to gain some knowledge and how you do it. By the way, this is still like free education, so by no means is Clay like saying this is exactly how you do it, and everything you need to know is right here. No, that is far from the truth. But so yeah, that's really what sparked my interest to day trade scalping.
I got to ask you. You said something fascinating that a lot of people miss out on. You weren't making huge gains, but you were making consistent gains. I mean, why did that impress you? Because a lot of people out there, and I hear it, well, not all the time, but you hear it everywhere. Basically, the rationale goes, Clay, you don't make huge gains, you suck as a trader. Why would I buy your course? You don't make huge, gains.
Can't believe you risked $70,000 to make $50, Clay. How could you?
Right. So there's a lot of people that's their thought process sequence is consistency. No, I don't see any gigantic gains. You suck as trader, therefore you're an idiot. But for you, I guess, where did this more? Do you think this was just because you're absolutely right. Huge gains can only go so far. I mean, there's got to be some consistency, but I guess, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this because I realize it's kind of I don't know. That's just kind of how I looked at it. But I mean, do you have any insight onto maybe what, made you look at things like that when so many other people are just focused on big old gains?
Um, yeah. I mean,
Well, please share, because a lot of people need whatever sort of mental wisdom you had going on.
well, I mean, I think of it as a business and as a job. So if you're working full time, from 7 in the morning to 4 p.m. at night, you're gonna get like the hourly wage. You're gonna have consistent gains, so to speak. So I really looked at trading as more of a business perspective. That way, I need to get the consistent cash flow and gains that I need to have a successful business. And I mean, the big gains can come, but how often are you going to get a perfect setup where you're going to get a huge gain like that? I mean, it's like once in a blue moon. To me, that'll happen, and you're mostly going to lose if you're trying to go in for the big gains all day. So
That's wise beyond your years. A lot of people, they look at the big win, they look at the gigantic gains, and then they don't bring in any other outside forms of context, such as what sort of risk was there relative to this gain? And then, like you said, the time component. How often is this actually going to happen? Or is, the full-time job going to be like a feast or famine type thing where there's, so like I said, brilliant, wise beyond your years. That's good stuff, and props to you for looking past the gains and realizing there's many more moving parts, that go into it. Where did you go from this point, though? You've located the videos. You've noticed not huge gains, but consistency. And I'm assuming you continue to watch the videos. Were you still actively trading at this point, or I guess kind of pick up the timeline from that point?
at this point, I wasn't trading that often. I was more so paper trading than anything. I was still trying to do some swing setups like on paper, actually pen and paper physically, and
Old school, love it.
yeah, it was kind of hard to keep track of all of it, just with life in general and how busy I was. Um,
How
so
long did you
yeah,
practice for?
um, probably 6 months. Just at work though. I mean, if I had like any downtime, I would pull up my phone on Thinkorswim and see if I could try to find a setup here and there, and then I would be like, oh, okay, here's a bull flag. Let me write down my entry and see where it goes from there and whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, so you weren't actually practicing the scalping kind of stuff you saw in Clay's video this time. You're still working on kind of pattern plays and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah, I was still trying to learn all I could about his strategy and how he does it, and some other strategies that involve scalping and whatnot.
Gotcha, because I was going to be like, if you were doing pen and paper the way Clay trades, kudos to you, because you better be fast at writing and you better be very, very responsible to yourself, because Clay is in and out of trades in like 4 seconds sometimes less. It's kind of crazy. But okay, so you're doing this kind of practice. You're paper trading at work. Obviously, are you still kind of contributing to your account or anything like that at this time while you're kind of not technically in the market? Or do you have swing trades on, or how's that looking while you're working this new job?
Yes, so I would take my paycheck. I had an emergency fund ready, already funded to my standard. I had my savings already funded. So all I really was doing was working to fund my account. So I would
Stop being so humble. I know spoilers.
I knew you were going to jump in
Goodness. First off, I love humility. That's great. But tell us your story. You can't just gloss over I was working to do all this stuff, because I know the background. Where were all your income streams coming from at this point in time?
At this point in time, it was my full-time job at I just worked for a equipment company in Denver. And they gave me a really good pay grade at the time. I was making 22 an hour, so I was bringing in a lot of cash for my age, I guess. I mean, comparing.
Yeah, how old are you at this point?
Yes,
21?
you definitely are.
Or are
I'm
still
23
20 right
now.
But I
Yeah.
mean, at this point in your timeline, was this 20 or 21 or 22?
21.
Well, who cares? I'm splitting hairs. It's early 20s. Yeah, $22 an hour. That's fine. But I want to, just because I I want to really quickly, for you as listeners, offer up context, some backdrop here. So when Ashton says working, as of right now, we're setting trading aside. How many income streams do you have?
Right now,
not counting trading. Yeah.
Oh, not counting trading, I have 3.
3.
You're gonna make him cry.
Yeah.
I
So
knew this was
walk
gonna
us
happen.
through. Yeah, walk us through. Well, this is because Ashton, my wife, came to Denver to meet with people, and she talked with Ashton, and like that was like the one thing. Oh yeah, Ashton. He was the guy that was like just like working super hard. I was like, yep, that's Ashton. Like that's what my wife and I remember Ashton by now, is the young kid that excuses. He spits on excuses. He uses excuses for toilet paper. But he was a kid, and I, with all due respect, you're kind of a kid still. You're 23. But, I mean, 3 forms of income that you have right now. Walk us through those.
So my main one would be my part-time job now at the equipment company in Denver that I've been working at full-time previously. So I had talked to them, and now I am part-time, so I only work in the afternoons, so that way I could focus on trading in the morning. So that's one. The second one, I have a iPhone repair business that I kind of am trying to jumpstart just from my house. I've been really successful in that one, actually. I've had a lot of repairs, and it's bringing in just that supplemental income that I really want to just kind of have some spending money or to fund my account some more.
Are you
or
willing to
just give myself
disclose? Are you willing to disclose a ballpark number that it's bringing in per month? Because as a fellow business owner, I'm just curious. I love side hustles.
per month? I would say close to $500 to $1,000 a month.
There you go. So for a side hustle where you are the man, ask yourself, I don't care what your age is, you got all of a sudden, boom, 5 100 crisp dollar bills in your pocket all of a sudden, just like that. And we'll take in the low end. I mean, what happens if it was 10 of those crisp $100 bills? What could you do with that? Just throwing it out there. That's good stuff, man. And this is just Ashton taking stuff into his own hands. So one more income stream. What's that final Benjamin Franklin producer?
I'm in the National Guard for Colorado. So, I mean, that's what I went to basic training and job training for, is to fix helicopters here in Colorado.
Nice. And I did know that, but I would also argue that now you get paid to have learned a valuable skill such as mechanic. Now, it's not like helicopters are the same as cars, but I mean, you're getting some good practical experience, and you got paid for all that experience, right? To learn some mechanic stuff.
Yes.
I mean, that's how you do it, folks. That's how you make the system work for you. I'm not going to pay for education. I'm going to make you pay me for the skills. And that's what Ashton did by joining the National Guard. But you have to go through boot camp. Yeah, you got to go through boot camp. You got to actually toughen up a little bit. I'm sorry, but sometimes you just got to be tough in life. And Ches, maybe I'm old and grumpy, but I don't know. Ches, we are getting grumpier by the day with Ashton, our new
we
data
certainly
point.
are.
This is not good for the people out there that want to play, that walk around with a big pile of victim cards in their pocket. Ashton is not good news for them because
Yeah, and I don't think I heard Ashton complain once about
that's
anything.
true.
I mean,
that is
not a thing at all.
I have not gotten the vibe of woe is me. I've had to do all this to make it happen. I have not gotten the vibe of because he's worked so hard that he's actually entitled to success in the markets. I have not gotten that vibe at all. Ashton, I like you. You're a good dude. So, okay, and then National Guard final. So those are the 3 income sources, and then your trading is the other one where you generate income. So let's fast forward. How exactly, I mean, what is your style looking like right now? Now, you joined Inner Circle first, right? Or did you go to Clay Trading University right out the get-go?
I joined the Inner Circle first.
Okay, and then you eventually jumped into Clay Trading University. So you finally decided, you know what, let's just learn in a structured format. So where does that all put you at right now? I mean, what does your trading look like, at this point in time, as far as your kind of approach to the market and what you're looking to pull from it?
So I'm just looking for the quick scalps, pretty much in the morning. I don't like to trade after 12 local time here, which would be 2 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm just looking for the quick in and outs, consistent little profits. I am having a hard time with the losses that it comes with, because it's like Clay's videos on the insurance model. That's how insurance companies work, is you pay, the monthly dues, which is small, and then once in a while when the big crash happens, then it does wipe away some of those monthly profits,
the monthly revenues, right?
Yeah, revenue. Yep. So that's how I look at it. I look for the consistent little gains. But yeah, that's my approach.
I mean, consistency is key. That's what anybody who's in the market should strive for. And trust me, I fully understand that if you're brand new to the market, you might come into it thinking, "Oh, I only need to hit it big once, and I'll buy as many 0001 stocks as I can, and all I need to do is go to 50 cents," like we talked about on the last podcast.
Yes.
So that's it doesn't work that way. Just like Ashton said, he's literally looking for consistent gains. They don't have to be home runs. If one of them wants to run and make a ton of money, that's great, but he's literally looking for small, consistent gains every day. It's just another revenue stream to him. But what I really want to ask was, how are you actually finding these tickers to trade before you're actually in the inner circle? So obviously we have an alert room and stuff like that, and it's very active, especially in the morning. But were you doing any scalping or anything like that before you joined the community, or just using stock twits?
I was. I'm far past stock twits at this point. That's long gone.
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, so no more stock twits. I did get a scanner that I still use today on my phone, and it kind of just tells you the highs and lows of the stocks. And I narrow it down to the ones that have high volume and just the basic stuff that you need. So I do have a scanner, and then I use my platform Thinkorswim, but I do not use them for executing trades. I use Interactive Brokers for executing trades, just because of their commission rate, mainly. And they have a pretty nice book trader function that gets me in and out pretty quick, and it just lays it out kind of in a visual perspective instead of typing the numbers out and then hitting send. So yeah, that's
personal preference then, as far as
right. Yeah,
and I'm gonna not mind my own business here, and you don't have to answer if you don't want. But are you above pattern day trading requirements?
Yes.
Okay. And you're 23 right now.
Yes.
Okay. So for listeners, why do I ask that question? To get around the stupid, annoying pattern day trading rule, it is what it is. I mean, I disagree with it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Everyone
need to have at least.
with it.
What's that?
I said everyone should disagree with it. It's kind of ridiculous.
It really is. But you need to have $25,000 in your account to be able to avoid this pattern day trading rule. $25,000. Oh, that's a lot of money. I'm not arguing against that. $25,000. That's a lot of money. And here we are talking to a 23-year-old kid that has at least, and I don't need to know how much money you have in your account, but he has met the threshold where he does not have to worry about this rule because he has $25,000 in his account. A 23-year-old kid.
Just one second here. Just one second. How do we know that Ashton didn't sell a kidney or some other organs and maybe only has one lung or something?
Because
now?
I had him.
You got to ask these questions.
No, but I already answered it though. I asked him and I said, "Now strip down. I need to check your body for any scars." There were no scars. There were no scars. He did both kidneys. He has both lungs. He has. I don't know.
So you're saying he just worked hard.
In fact, I poked him in both eyeballs to make sure both were real. And both times he got mad at me and said, "Ow, that really hurt." So, I mean, the kid has all his body parts. My wife was weirded out. She's like, "Why are you making this kid strip?" I said, "I got to make sure that, this money is not coming from..." Because I know Ches would want me to do this for this moment in time.
I guess that's what we do at meetups now. Yeah, we have to assess our members.
This got weird really quick. I don't even know how we got down this rabbit hole.
I'm sorry. Back to $25,000.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story here is that here is a 20. And as I told Ashton, and as my wife was motivated. I mean, this is good stuff. A young kid, 23 years old, has at least $25,000 that he can trade with. This is not in like some, I am kind of assuming you didn't inherit any of this money, did you?
No.
Okay, you like worked hard for this, and then you saved money to be able to do this, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like I said to you, victim card players out there, yeah, Ashton is kind of like your kryptonite because he is really stomping all over the woe is me. I can't get ahead. $25,000. I can barely get $5,000 to trade with. Sorry, I really don't want to hear it. Let me see what your time schedule looks like. Where are all your times going? And given I'm talking to you right now in the YouTube comment section, I may be able to argue that you're not spending your time as wisely as you could be. But totally different. Yeah, I keep going down these rabbit holes, but it's good stuff. So yeah, $25,000, age 23. That's good stuff. Strength-wise, looking at the time, we'll have to start to wrap things up. But I always like to ask this one. I mean, what are some things you think you do well? So strengths, and then what are some things, weaknesses that you have recognized and want to continue to work on?
So I guess the weaknesses there's a lot of stuff. Just in my own mind, I think I can work on everything a little better. But the main thing is to know when to cut these scalps that are just not going in your way, and having those big losses. Just try to minimize the big losses and maximize the little profits that I can take. So that's one of my weaknesses is just to know when to cut the scalp trade out. Some of my strengths, just I guess my chart reading would be a strength. I know what the overextended stock looks like. I have for every stock symbol, I have 3 charts on the 2-minute, the 5-minute, and then a yearly chart. So that way I can look at the whole picture, narrow it down into the 5-minute and then the 2-minute. So I mean, I can see if the stock, if it's a pump and dump, then I'll kind of be weary about getting into a position. Just stuff like that. I can really analyze a stock in seconds and know exactly what's going on, and then kind of try to plan out the trade as I see it unfolds.
So from what I gathered from everything there, you have a process. You know what you're looking for. You have everything set up the way you want it. You spend time doing it. You're not jumping to ABCD patterns anymore. You found it. You stuck with it. You're doing it, and you're being consistent with it. So honestly, if you're a new listener or getting into the market, you should literally strive to be like Ashton and have goals like that, because that's what really is going to make long-term success. And I'm not sure if I said it before. Love the multiple sources of income. It's such a great way to just get ahead and stuff like that. But I do know the real reason you came on today was to borrow my time machine. So it's only just a little bit northwest of you. You're welcome to come on anytime. Actually, I should have lent it to you when you came out over the 4th,
right,
when you were driving right past my house practically. But if you give yourself one piece of advice, no buy or sell recommendations, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
One piece of advice would be to just not freeload on my education. I didn't really take it that seriously at first, before I realized that this could be a really good job or income source. I would tell myself to, take this seriously. You're young, so I mean, the earlier you get into this stuff, the better off you'll be in the long run. So I would say take it seriously and invest into structured education, such as Clay Traders courses.
And you were not paid to say that, right?
No, I was not.
Okay.
In fact, he even paid for the food to come to the meetup. So, I mean, you pretty much paid to just, be nice to you right there, Clay. Lucky you.
He's a nice guy. What can I say? And I just typed the title to Nate for this podcast because it's fresh on my mind. You want to hear the title? Usually people don't know what it is because I got to think about it. But you want to hear the title of this podcast, Ashton?
Yeah.
And Ches, let me know your thoughts too. So the title of the podcast: a 23-year-old excuse killer. Is that pretty good, Ches? Do you think is it?
I think it's pretty good. You should have went with 23-year-old yacht owning model girlfriend having.
Yeah, I know.
That's fine.
Yours
is better.
We're the worst marketers ever, Ches. We really are, because that would be the wise thing to to have arranged this instead of telling people, you got to get out there and break a sweat and work hard. We're the worst marketers ever. But yeah, so that's going to be the name of it, a 23-year-old excuse killer. And on that note, we are, well, I don't know. I may take a different viewpoint depending on how you answer these next set of questions. But Ashton, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie would be Hot Rod. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I have not.
That's one I have not seen.
Is this a classic
Really?
or is this, I mean.
It's kind of like Dumb and Dumber, but it's more of it's like this adrenaline junkie stunt man who tries to do different stuff and he just fails, and yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a newer movie, past couple years.
All right. So it sounds like it's like a reality movie, like he's actually trying to do this stuff and he fails, or is it still a Hollywood failure?
Sounds like a comedy.
Yeah, it's more of a comedy.
Oh, okay.
I like
So
the
it's not
stupid
like
movies.
Gotcha. Jez, you're up.
What about food and dessert? What's your favorite in those regards?
So food, I really like my dad's homemade chicken pot pie. I mean, it's just good for you, and it's so delicious. I love it. Dessert wise, I'm not a big sweets eater, but I will have cookies and milk every once in a while.
Can't go wrong with those.
Now I have a big question here, Ashton. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, well, overall context for listeners, as we've established, we already went out there for the official meet and greet. Denver, Colorado, good place. And then all of a sudden, Southwest was running a sale. I'm like, I would like to go back out there. The place is cool. Had a lot of good time with the people. So, Ashton, are you going to hang out with us when we go out there? Or
of course.
We being myself and right now Nate Wilson. You're going to try to hang out with us?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are you going to hike that big old thing? I don't even know what it's called. That big
the
trail?
Manitou Trail?
Yeah, you're going to hike that with us?
Yeah, for sure.
Ashton could do that backwards blindfolded, doing handstands the whole way up, bud. Come on.
So you're not going to tap out or anything, though?
No excuses.
Yeah, see? Oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to turn into a competition. Yeah, and I'm going to be throwing my guts up, but that's okay. That builds character too. So it'll be a good time. All right, good. That was really the pressing question on my mind is we're going to be able to hang out. You can show us around some more out in Colorado, which is I guess let's see. This is it's January or July right now. I think it's September. Awesome. So I got a couple months to keep working out and try to make sure I don't tap out on that Manitawaka Trail, whatever that thing's called. But good. You're going to hang out. Ches, you bring it home.
Alrighty. Ashton, first off, thank you for being a guest. It was a pleasure talking to you in person and again here on the podcast. But if you had to pick 3 words that define successful trading, what 3 words would that be?
I've been thinking a lot about this question. One would be patience. Just patience in gaining capital, patience in learning. I can't stress that enough.
Patience in gaining capital. Patience in gaining capital. Crap, that's 4 words, but I think that pretty much summarizes it right there. If people just had patience in that regard, just the world in general would be a better place. If people had patience in terms of, well, I need that right now, so excuse me, bank, give me a loan. Let's load myself down in debt. So that's one of my favorite answers, patience in gaining capital. Ches, how many people do you come across in the world of our customer service part of the business where they are not having patience in the gaining capital regard? I mean, I'm not being over dramatic here. We see it all the time, right?
I have $500. I will not invest in my education, and I want to get rich by next month. Yes, they have no patience and generally are undercapitalized. It's a high percentage.
Yep. I've never been called an idiot so many times in my life for suggesting that one of the best ways to grow an account is ticker symbol JOB. JOB? You mean like I have to go get a part-time job? Like I have to maybe I have to break a sweat? No, you guys are scammers. You guys are idiots. You're not telling me what I want to hear. I'm going to, go someplace else. Okay, well, like I said, Ches and I were literally the worst marketers, I think, probably in this industry. But oh well. But so anyways, I cut you off, but I blame you. You got my adrenaline flowing again. So patience. What else?
Discipline. Just with your plans. Don't deviate from them. And then, man, the third word. Let's see.
Can I throw one at you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sweat.
Sweat
representing
equity.
hard work.
Yes.
Just in general. Be ready to work hard, both physically in building your account and trading in general. You got to work hard in order to make this all work. So can I put in that final word? Can we go with sweat?
Yes.
There we go. Ches, I think that's 2 weeks in a row. Patience and discipline, the first two ones. So, I mean...
It's almost like a recurring theme, and it sounds like it's kind of important in trading.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe we just... I talked about this last week, but I'm going to drill it home again. I don't care if it annoys you or not as a listener. But if there's a bunch of data points that keep coming up, the exact same data point, maybe, just maybe, there's some truth behind it. But we have been accused, as a previous fun fact, of all these guests being staged. So I guess if you're wearing that tinfoil hat, then yes, all those patience data points isn't really true. But I'm assuming 99.9% of you out there don't think that this is all staged. But in that case, yeah, 2 weeks in a row now. Patience, discipline. Maybe it's got something to do with it. But Ashton, man, good stuff. I'm glad we're going to be hanging out soon. You're very motivating. You're very inspiring. And thank you for hanging out with us today.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's been an honor.
And you'll come back at some point in the future?
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. I mean, you got the mic now, so no excuses on that end either. You can come randomly. Can I ask you one final question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Has your mailman started a podcast recently?
No.
Because a little backdrop here, we mail out mics to guests, and the first time ever, it literally the box showed up to Ashton with no mic in it. The box showed up ripped open. So I don't know. Whoever has that mic, my theory is that your mailman, mailwoman now has their own podcast, and I would like to see what mic they're using for that podcast. I don't know. I
mean, it's a good thing Ashton didn't say he had 4 sources of income, and one of them was selling microphones that he got out of the mail. So as long as he didn't say that, I think we're fine.
That is true. And Colorado, I don't have anything. All memories are positive, but I got to be. There is one now in the negative column, and the negative column is we've mailed out hundreds of mics. Literally, this is episode 175. We mailed out hundreds of mics, and somebody in the state of Colorado, I guess it could have been on
desperate to be a podcast star, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I threw that in there. I figure most people that wanted to hear the good nitty gritty stuff, they've probably already turned this off, and the people that are still here are just like hardcore. Let's just geek out together and have a conversation. But anyways, with that being said, thank you again, Ashton. Thank you, Ches, our co-host. Thank you as listeners. I'm going to wrap this up quickly. If you are listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, make sure to subscribe. On iTunes, if you could help us with a rating, that really goes a long way, and we would really appreciate it. If you're listening on the YouTube channel, make sure to check out the YouTube channel as a whole. There are those live trades that Ashton talked about. There's quick tip videos. There's a vlog. There's lots of different content on the video. We do reviews of different stuff. The show producer, IT Nate, he does tech reviews of different, trading tech out there. So you get a lot of good stuff on the YouTube channel. So make sure to check that out. And hopefully you decide to subscribe. And then finally, if you're listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, click that share button. Leave us comments down below. We do read those. We will reply to them. And yeah, we would be happy to interact with you. So thank you again to all of you as listeners. We will see you back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.